Did you know that the 26th of April of every year is celebrated as the World Intellectual Property Day? So basically, what we are celebrating is creativity, individuality, and the rights to protect this creativity. So I would like to take this opportunity to talk about one of the most creative characters in English literature, who is Sherlock Holmes. So Arthur Conan Doyle created Sherlock Holmes' character in 1887, and in the next 40 years, he published four novels and 56 short stories. So what happens in the US is after 95 years after the publication of a story or a book, it becomes public domain. It's not just for books, it's for music also. So what happens when a book enters public domain is that anybody can use the characters in the book, the story of the book, the theme of the book, and adapt it in any way they want. So this is why we have things like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is a modern day remake of Pride and Prejudice. So coming back to Sherlock Holmes, by the early 2000s, most of the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle were in the public domain, which is why Netflix created Enola Holmes. And the moment this movie came out, the Doyle estate, that is the descendants of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, sued Netflix. And their reasoning was that if you notice the Sherlock Holmes series, in the beginning, that is in the earlier books like A Study in Scarlet, etc., Sherlock Holmes is portrayed as a very cold, arrogant man who doesn't respect other people or doesn't respect people, and he's emotionless. But later on, as the series progresses, that is to the end of the 1920s, in the books like the Case Book of Sherlock Holmes, he is portrayed as a very kind, not very kind, a little more emotionally mature, kind, warm gentleman. So in the Enola Holmes movie, if you've noticed, the character of Sherlock Holmes is played by Henry Cavill, and he portrayed Sherlock Holmes as a warm, loving, caring man. And this version of Sherlock Holmes was not in public domain yet because this was written in the late 1920s and it did not enter public domain. So the Doyle family sued Netflix that there is a copyright infringement and you didn't pay us for this version of Sherlock Holmes. Had Netflix used a non-smiley, cold and arrogant and emotionless version of Sherlock Holmes, they wouldn't have to pay the Doyle family. But now they had to because legally the Doyle family was right. So after the year of 2023, all versions of Sherlock Holmes has entered public domain. So you can write any version of Sherlock Holmes. You write like a smiling, crying version of Sherlock Holmes and you would not have any copyright infringement or legal issues. Isn't that the most bizarre legal battle you've heard of? It certainly is for me. So talking about Sherlock Holmes, comment down below what is your favorite work that includes Sherlock Holmes. My favorite book of Sherlock Holmes is I think Hound of Baskerville. It includes an ancient curse and a huge aristocratic family. It's very cozy, it's very vibey. And my favorite short story will have to be the Adventure of the Dancing Men and the Adventure of the Engineer's Thumb and also the Adventure of the Greek Interpreter. And talking of short stories, I would like to recommend that you listen to the short stories as a podcast. It's done by Noiser Network. It's on Spotify for free. And this wonderful man called Hugh Bonneville reads these